Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am so grateful you stopped by, and I hope that you enjoy your visit with me today. Today's video is all about spirit animals, animal spirit guides, totems, power animals, however you're going to want to call them. So if you're really interested in that, stick around. Hi, and welcome back. So I'm going to share my screen so that we have the PowerPoint up and get to it. So hopefully you can see my screen. I'm really happy that you're here. My name is Kelshei, and I am an initiated Wiccan High Priestess. I'm a Reiki Master, and I have had some friends dub me with the title of Shaman for them. So one of the things about that is I work a very great deal with animal spirit guides. And so I thought I would come on today and talk to you a little bit about what they are and how you can work with them and how you might recognize that you have a message trying to come through from your spirit guides. So a little bit of housekeeping here. I just wanted to kind of clue you in. Sometimes you'll hear them referred to as animal spirit guides. You may hear them referred to as power animals. You may hear them referred to as totems, animal guides, that sort of thing. For me, I tend to refer to them as animal spirit guides simply because I do a lot of work with spirit guides in general, those ethereal, otherworldly beings that are here to help us out. And animals are just one of the many types of spirit guides that you can work with. I may also refer to them as power animals when we are talking about your personal animal spirit guide. So if you go through a journey, which we'll talk about in just a moment, to meet your personal animal spirit guide, then you might refer to it as your power animal or your totem. I tend not to use the term totem, mostly because while I do have Native American ancestry, I don't have a lot of training in that framework. And I do definitely not want to offend or misconstrue my knowledge in any way. So I have learned pretty much every single thing I know about animal spirit guides from the animals themselves. This is very similar to how I have learned a lot about my metaphysical knowledge. Yes, I have been trained. I have a Wiccan 3rd degree, and I have extensive training that took me over a decade from neophyte to 3rd degree. And I do have a lot of knowledge from books. I'm a librarian by training, so books are very important to me, definitely a bibliophile. But a lot of what I get from the metaphysical realms, the out here kind of stuff, is that it comes directly from the source. So a lot of what I get from my matron and patron deities or from deity itself, themselves, however you want to refer to it, is direct download from them. It's really funny to get that direct download and then have it confirmed by a book. But anyway, getting a little bit off topic here. I tend to do that. I'm so sorry. So we're going to refer to these beings, these animal beings, as animal spirit guides. Okay. So these critters, for lack of a better word, they come in all shapes and sizes. So on the screen, I have a kitten who is absolutely adorable, right? And a lion. Both are felines. That does not mean that all animal spirit guides are going to be different sizes of cat. Okay. I just use these as example photos because I thought the kitten was cute, first of all. But I just want you to know they come in all shapes and sizes. Animal spirit guides can come from any animal kingdom. I personally have never known anyone with like a bacteria or a virus as an animal spirit guide, but I guess technically it could be possible. But you'll find people that have birds, that have reptiles, that have insects, that have canines, felines, you know, you name it. And animal spirit guides come from all different animal kingdoms. So don't think that because you've been visited by a particular animal that you're less than or less cool or whatever. Okay. Just want to kind of throw that out there. And kind of going into this a little bit further, do not be fooled. You know, appearances can be deceiving. So if you are constantly, you know, everywhere you go, you know, you sit down on a park bench and you have a butterfly land on the park bench next to you. You're at home in your garden and you have a butterfly land near you. Butterfly might be trying to tell you something, okay? Don't think because butterfly is very fragile and very ethereal that butterfly doesn't have extremely powerful medicine to offer you. Okay. So one of the things that I always caution people when we get ready to do a shamanic journey, which we'll discuss in just a minute, as I said, but one of the things I definitely caution people is do not go into it with any expectation. Okay. You might have a household full of cats. You know, you might have 4 or 5 cats, love cats, absolutely adore them, would probably die trying to pet a cougar or something. You know, you absolutely love cats. And then you get into the shamanic journey and you find that your power animal, your main power animal is like a hedgehog or something. Okay. Don't go into any kind of exploration with animal spirit guides with any expectation. And I'll give you an example from my personal experience. The very first journey that I went on to meet my personal power animal, I love cats. I have had cats my whole life, and I really kind of expected to have some kind of feline show up as my power animal. However, it turns out that my personal power animal is wolf. That was really kind of a shocker to me because despite the shaman who led me through the journey, despite her reprimand or advice to not go into it with expectations, I still kind of did. And I was in the journey and I saw a cat and I thought, ooh, I was right. And the cat shook her head or shook his head. I don't know. We didn't talk long enough for me to determine gender, and gender really is a construct anyway. But shook its head and kind of nudged me along the path saying, no, I'm here for you. You can come talk to me. I have powerful medicine for you to use when you need it, but I'm not your personal power animal. So don't go into any kind of exploration with animal spirit guides with any expectation. Okay. So okay, so animals in the natural world. This is really where you recognize the messages that you may be trying to, they may be trying to get to you. You can also, as I have told other people, you may be the type of person, and I'm one of these people, who collects things. Before you have had any kind of introduction to animal spirit guides, you've never been on a journey before, you've never done a meditation, you know, you are a newbie when it comes to animal spirit guides. You may be the type of person that has a whole shelf full of fill in the blank. You collect cardinals, you collect penguins, you collect Holstein cows, you collect wolves, you collect eagles, bears, you know, whatever. Your whole house is done in whatever animal, because you've just always had some kind of affinity to that animal. You may also be someone who has grown up with a nickname. Everyone you know, despite having never been told anything about it, may call you like Kitten or something like that. And you're like, okay, I'm 40 years old. Why are you calling me Kitten? This is really, you know, derogatory, right? But it may be that your energy has been so resonated and so saturated with that particular spirit guide, animal spirit guide, that you just exude that energy to the point where people just pick up on it. Okay. And so if you have not already, and you are constantly called something, you know, bear cub, whatever, then it would probably behoove you to do some meditation and do some journeying to connect with that particular animal or type of animal and find out what it is that they're trying to tell you through other people. Okay. So you may already be someone who has connected with your power animal and not really realized it because you just collect all the things. Okay. So one of the ways animals can get to you and start telling you messages is by paying attention to the animals you see around you in the natural world. And I'm going to include here your Facebook feed, Instagram feed, things like that. Actual pictures of actual animals or animals in nature when you go out on a walk or when you look out your window, that sort of thing. You know, actual mundane physical animals is what we're talking about here. Not animal spirit guides, although they represent the spirit guide energy for that particular animal. And I hope that makes sense. If I'm not making sense on any of this, my friends, drop me a comment down below and I will try to further explain, do a follow-up video, that sort of thing. But basically what we're talking about here are actual flesh and blood live animals. Okay. So one of the references that I did not put in my reference slide, but that I would highly recommend, and I'll link to one in the description below, is a field guide. Okay. There are thousands of different types of field guides to all different types of animals. So field guide to North American birds, field guide to North American reptiles, field guide to North American amphibians, that sort of thing. Because one of the ways that you can determine whether or not an animal's spirit guide is speaking through a flesh and blood animal is in its behavior. Okay. So if you've got an animal that is by all definition nocturnal, in other words, it comes out at night, it's more comfortable being out at night, or it's diurnal, more comfortable being out during the day. Or if it's an animal that is most often active at sunrise and sunset, or if it's an animal that is not usually out during hot weather or out during cold weather, or fill in the blank here. Flesh and blood animals have particular behavior that is typical of that particular animal. Okay. So if you've got a particular animal who is not usually one that hangs around people, you know, they tend to avoid people when they can at all possibly avoid them. or you've got an animal that is a water, typically water, or whatever the behavior of the animal is typically. And you're out in the world, taking all precautions because we're still in the middle of a pandemic when this video goes live. But you're out in the world, you're taking a walk at the park, and you happen to see an animal that is acting peculiarly. Is that even a word? It is now. So they're acting a little bit odd, and you're not entirely sure why you think they're acting odd. So you pull out your phone, you ask Uncle Google, how does this animal usually behave? And you find out that this particular animal is usually only active at sunrise and sunset, and you're walking in the park at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And here it is showing itself to you, not hiding in the trees, not hiding in the bushes. It is like right out front and center. Hello, look at me. Then pay attention, because that particular animal, and how many times we could have a drinking game of how many times I say the word particular animal. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee. But the animal spirit guide that embodies the animal that you are seeing in the natural world is more than likely trying to tell you something, my friend. So how do you connect with the animal, the spirit guide that's coming through the flesh and blood animal, or just animal spirit guides in general? There's a couple of different ways. So the shamanic journey is probably one of the, I won't say easiest ways, because, well, you got to have somebody who'll lead it for you. But it's one of the most common, well-known, I don't even know what we're going to call this, but it's the easiest way I have found, because it's a very formulaic type of meditation. It has steps that you go through, and the shaman that leads you through it will explain it to you if they're worth their salt at all. They'll explain to you what the shamanic journey is, what it entails, all of that before you ever drop into meditative space. So I'm not going to lead a shamanic journey for you all today, because I don't like to do it unless I'm right there in the same room with somebody, in case they have a weird reaction and I can like step in. But basically, the shamanic journey is done in meditative space. It is usually accompanied by a drum beat, a heartbeat drum beat. And the shaman leading you through it will kind of help you along the way. Will say, look up, because if they're doing it right, they can connect with you and your energy, and kind of not see exactly what you're seeing, but see the energetic signatures of what you might be seeing. Because a lot of times, especially if you ignored their advice to begin with, you may be going in with expectations and think you're going to see a cat, when really there's this gorgeous eagle sitting in a tree above your head going, hello, I'm up here. What are you doing? So the shamanic journey basically starts out with you walking in a clearing. Okay. It can be of any type of clearing, but it's something in the natural world. So like a clearing in the woods, a beach, a field, some kind of open space, and you're going to walk towards a hole. Now, this can be a hole in the ground. It can be a knot hole. It can be a cave, anything like that. But you're going to go into this hole, and you're going to find yourself on a pathway that slopes gently downward. And when you come out, you're going to come out into another clearing that may or may not seem natural to our world, but it will seem very natural to the world that you are in. Okay. And you're just going to kind of wander about and see if you see any animals. And these can be literally any animals. They can be cryptids, you know, they can be dragons, they can be gargoyles, you know, all of that stuff. Typically not, but you may be one of those special few that has a dragon as your power animal, and wow, okay. But you're going to meet various animals probably that are either going to guide you on your way like the cat did for me, or you may meet your personal power animal. You might not meet your personal power animal during that first journey. You might not be ready for it yet. Okay, so don't ever feel like you failed if you don't meet them in this journey. So the animal that shows itself to you from all directions, it faces you, it turns away from you, you see it right and left, that is usually its indication of, yes, hello, I'm here, I'm it, nice to meet you, let's have a chat. So have a conversation with the animal. In this place, you will speak each other's language. You know, most of the time, things on this plane do not speak in our normal vernacular. They speak in symbology and imagery and things like that. But in this particular place, you will understand each other. When you come back to your world, you may have to rely on images, dreams, that sort of thing for y'all to communicate. But you can always go into another meditation. And I'm going to put a card wherever the cards go of a meditation that I have already put up on the channel for the first Monday meditation series on the mental temple. And it will be a place for you to go if you want to have more conversations, or if you want to start this process and you don't have someone to lead you through the journey. You can certainly use that meditation in place of it as kind of a meditative journey. It's not exactly the same. It's not formulaic the way this shamanic journey is, but it'll get you there. So you can also use that mental temple meditation if you have an animal that's making noise, throwing my pen across the room here. But you can use the mental temple meditation to connect with the animals that are trying to give you a message. So say you're seeing an animal acting weirdly in nature or not typical in nature, you're like, okay, they're obviously trying to get a message through to me. So let's go find out what they want. You can definitely use that mental temple meditation for that purpose. Okay. And these are just some of the references that I looked at when I was doing the presentation. I highly recommend the book Animals Speak. It has been kind of my go-to for a long time. And as I have said in other videos, I need to get some new books. So if you know more books about animal spirit guides, power animals, that sort of thing, drop me a comment below because I need to refresh my library apparently. But one of the things that I will definitely caution you all with regards to books or oracle decks with animals, I use my animal messages deck a lot when I do my pick a card readings. But one thing I will definitely caution you with that, or sites on the internet where you are, and I'm going to stop sharing here and we'll just have a chat. So one of the things I do definitely want to caution you about with regards to any of the sites that you find on the internet or the books that you find or oracle decks, things like that, is that your personal connection to a particular animal may be very different from the traditional meaning. Okay, for an example, the traditional meaning for dog is loyalty and protection. Okay, man's best friend, all of that stuff. And for most of us who absolutely adore canines, maybe have one or two or five, we may definitely resonate with that energy. However, if you are one of the people who was bitten by a dog as a child, or chased by a dog as a child, or have some kind of traumatic experience with a dog, you may not resonate with that energy. It may not seem like dog represents loyalty and protection to you. Dog may more represent fear to overcome. So when you're looking at oracle cards or reading a definition of an animal in a book, use your intuition and look at how you resonate with that flesh and blood animal, because it may be very different for you personally. Okay, so that's my little caveat for today. And that's the lesson for today. So I hope that you got something out of it and that you enjoyed it. I certainly love working with animal spirit guides. Have been doing this for about 25 years or so. And I have grown up loving animals my whole life. I kind of self-describe as animal loving and people tolerating, because I'm the type of person, if I go to a party, you're more likely to find me in the corner petting the dog or petting the cat than I am interacting with any of the people at the party. So that's definitely who I am. You can see over this shoulder there-ish, I have a poster on my wall of venomous snakes in the Southeast because snake is one of my critters. I don't have any snakes, venomous or otherwise, but I definitely resonate with that energy. So that's my talk for today, and I really appreciate you spending a few minutes of your time with me and that you enjoyed it. And if you got anything out of it, I'm going to use my usual caveat, not really caveat, but my usual message of, if you liked it, click the link below, the like, thumbs up, that thing below. Give me a comment. Let me know what your experiences are with working with animal spirit guides. Have you ever done it? Are you someone who collects a bunch of animals? If you want any advice or suggestions on how to connect with that energy, drop me a comment below. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate you doing it. Just engage with me in some form or fashion, because I really want to make sure that I am producing content that you want to see. So right now I'm doing videos for me. I like talking about animals, so I thought I'd hop on here and talk about them for a little while. Anyway, until next time, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.